everybody, this is Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, talking about episode number 84. It's a popularity contest, recorded on Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Tonight's topics: watch parties, Android Auto is not so auto, he's allowed, and a lot about trains. Stick around, we have fun with this one. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
I'm Ryan McAllister.
So this is take 2, thanks to Windows and its wonderful world of garbage.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Better not crap out this time.
It didn't crap out, it just didn't select the right microphone.
Well, yeah. Same difference.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, folks, we got 4 topics. That's right, 4 of them, because Ryan actually added one for a change.
Yep.
But, since...
No, it's not NASCAR. I'm numb to that stuff right now.
Yeah, well... So, we're not going to go through everything that we went through, even though we had a really good interaction going and it was real fun and everything. It just
First
sucks.
topic.
Yeah. So we're going to jump right into the first topic.
Award-winning party.
Yes, so throwing an award-winning party. So I was watching, I think it was Good Morning America or something like that with your mother on Saturday.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning. And, they started talking about throwing a party for, whatever award show it was
coming up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably the Oscars.
I have no clue.
Knowing how that's getting hyped to hell and back.
Yeah, I have no clue because, I don't care about award shows. Award shows are all about popularity.
Even though nothing correct is going to be won at the Oscars.
Yeah, it's all just stupid.
The jokes are going to be unfunny.
Probably. But...
You know why? Because Jimmy Kimmel's hosting, and he is not funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think any of the stuff on there is ever any good, so it doesn't matter to me. It's all a popularity contest. It's not about, what's really quality or anything like that. It's just who's the most popular at that point in time. But... At any rate, so they were talking about it and, suggesting drinks to make and all this other stuff. And then they said, they it just gets me with an award-winning party.
Who's going to judge
frick is judging this party?
Your friends?
Is it your friends that you're actually inviting over for free? Not charging them admission.
For free.
You're feeding them. And you're giving them drinks, including alcoholic beverages, which you're taking the time to make. Absolutely free. And then
they're not paying a cent other than maybe gas money.
Yeah, and, they're driving themselves over. You're not charging for parking. You're not charging them for, coat check or anything like that. There's no paparazzi there taking their pictures or anything. So, I mean, they're talking about doing all this stuff, including... And I am not joking. They're talking about also giving them gift bags.
Seriously?
I'm like, what the heck is with that? It's not their birthday or anything, so why the hell am I giving them a gift bag?
You're already giving them so much free shit.
You're giving them gifts. You're giving them a gift of food. You're giving them a place to watch it. And you're giving them free parking. And you're giving them booze. I don't understand why so many people feel the need to try and outdo somebody else, And that's what this is all about.
Either.
This is all about, I got to outdo, the Joneses because they had this really great party last year. You know what? If my party's not good enough for you, don't come next year. I'm fine with that. I'll save money.
That shows you that you're not my real friend.
Yeah, it shows me that I'll feed myself and screw you. Go feed yourself with somebody else's party. Who gives a crap about whether or not your party
better
is
than whoever?
Yeah, they can worry about whether or not their party is award winning. I don't care.
Neither do I.
Anyway, so that was like huge, and I almost forgot to add it, to be honest with you. I was like,
Hmm.
because I was doing something. I think I was actually editing photos or something like that, and I heard that, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, it's bad enough that people throw these Super Bowl parties and they feel they have to spend like $300 or $400. You know, I mean, to me, it's like if my friends feel that I need to spend $300 or $400 to sit
On
down
a
and
party.
watch a game, it's that's a bit much.
You
Just way
shouldn't
too
even have
much.
to spend 100 depending on the guest size.
I mean, and that's the thing. Everybody's like I said, they're so worried about outdoing the Joneses. Oh, my party's got to be
Exactly.
bigger. So they start inviting people that the only time they ever talk to them is when they invite them to their Super Bowl party.
Yep.
Or oh, well, I got a Super Bowl board with this guy, and this way when I win money, he can just hand it to me instead of me having to wait.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
Or hell, some people let their friends invite people that
Yeah.
they've never even met,
Yeah, and it's like,
just so they can have more people at the party,
yep, it's all about
which is
numbers.
stupid.
It's all about numbers.
It's
And
all a popularity contest.
yeah, and a lot of that goes right back to Facebook with constantly saying showing how many friends you have. I don't have many friends. I have a few people that I have never met in person, but very few people. And I do that intentionally because I really truly don't care about a friend count. I'd rather interact with people that I really truly know and like, you know? But
Same here. I I do not have a single Facebook friend that I have never met in real life.
the only ones I have are ones that I got from Google Plus. And Google Plus was much more about your interests than it
Mm-hmm.
was about people you actually know. Especially since, you know, there
That's
were
it.
there were so
That's
few
exactly how
people.
Reddit is too,
Yeah,
which is why I like it so much.
there were so few people on Google Plus when it first started, that finding somebody you knew was nearly impossible. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, whatever. I found some people that we had fun. You get onto Facebook, they're not quite the same, but they're still fun to interact with occasionally. So I kept them and keep in touch. But yeah, well. So what do you say? Think we beat that with a dead horse?
Yep, we've beat the dead horse.
Yeah. So topic number 2: Android Auto and phone calls.
Hmm.
So the other day, Sunday, we took your grandmother home, and I was planning on calling a friend of mine, trying to figure out some plans on when he can come up and possibly when we can go down there. And I tried calling him, and I use Android Auto. I plugged my phone in, and I mean, we were in your mother's car, so it wasn't actually hidden away. But
Hmm.
normally I keep it hidden. That way, if something ever happens, they know that I wasn't texting because I can't get to my phone. So, at any rate, I tried calling him, and because I wasn't connected via Bluetooth, it wouldn't actually call through the car audio. It called through the freaking phone directly. I'm like, what the hell? So then I'm
Hmm.
sitting there. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll have to connect to the Bluetooth. So I'm trying to connect to the Bluetooth, and it wouldn't connect. And I'm getting really pissed off and everything. So then your mother gets back in the car. I say, just call him because her phone is connected to her car with Bluetooth.
Yep.
So I'm like, just call him. So then she tries calling him, and it's all screwed up. And I'm like, what the hell?
Huh?
So then finally I just said, oh, screw it. Just tell him I'll call him tomorrow. I mean, it was a perfect opportunity for me to talk with him But I couldn't do it because the stupid system wasn't working the way it was designed. The whole point of Android Auto is so that you don't have to touch your phone. I had to touch my phone. I had to actually physically hold my phone because,
That's stupid.
yeah, because the only way I could talk to him was using speakerphone on the phone. And I'm like, ugh. And it's not like it's some kind of funky device or anything. I have a Pixel device made by Google, so you would think that this would work even better than any other phone.
At least it's supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Google product working with a Google product. It should work really well without any hassles. But no, we decide we're going to make a hassle out of it. Just really, really bothersome, if you ask me.
Hmm.
It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. But I'll have to play around with it and see, see if maybe it was something else that was going on. I don't know. But at any rate, so we got another topic down. And I
Okay.
did not say that this was going to be a short episode, but
Yep, it's gonna be a short episode.
we got two topics and we haven't even gotten 15 minutes.
What's next?
So next, I put this down and you're actually you're gonna understand what this was about once I actually start explaining it.
Okay.
So the topic title that I put in is, why is it wrong for someone to enjoy themselves?
Okay.
So, again, on Sunday, we were sitting there
Mm-hmm.
watching. Actually, at this point, I was listening because I was out in the kitchen making pizzas. But
Yep.
they're talking about Chase Elliott and the fact that he
Yep, I think
broke
I know
his
where this is
leg.
going.
You know, he broke his leg
No,
because
it
he
wasn't a
was,
break, it was a
or
fracture.
whatever. He injured himself seriously to the point where he had to have surgery, and he's going to be out for a few weeks. And
Yep.
the announcers are going off saying, I don't know why he would do something like that in the season. There's so much going on the season. Well, all right, so here's the problem. First and foremost, they kept screwing up, saying, I mean, it was pretty obvious. It was obviously stated multiple times prior to this that it was a snowboarding accident.
Yep.
They they said
They
things
said
from,
multiple times snowmobiling accident.
yeah. And if it was a snowmobiling accident and all he did was fracture his leg, that's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a snowmobiling accident. It was a
It was a
snowboarding.
snowboarding accident.
So, here's my. They started saying, going off on why would he do this? This is such a bad time to be doing stuff like that. You're right in the season, right in the start of the season. And all I could think was, he's human. He's doing this job
He
of racing because he enjoys it and he gets paid well. He
and he has
wants to
other things that he
enjoy.
enjoys.
Yeah. They wouldn't think twice of it if he got in an accident in some off series, and hurt
Mm-hmm.
himself. I mean,
Like Tony Stewart did
yeah,
now almost 10 years ago.
but there's plenty of other drivers who are they're in multiple events. Whether you're talking about the ones who waste all their time in the Xfinity series, or you're
And
talking
Truck
about,
Series.
yeah, like Kyle Busch.
Or
Kyle Busch the other day he did the Truck Series, didn't he?
he did, and I believe he won.
So
And then he came, and then after saying that he'd stopped racing Xfinity a couple of years ago, he comes back to Xfinity and starts racing there again.
yeah. So what if he gets in an accident there and gets hurt? I
He
guarantee,
has.
I guarantee these announcers would not be questioning him doing that.
He has gotten in an accident and has injured himself in one of those races.
Yeah. But, like I'm
And they
saying,
did,
I
and the announcers
guarantee,
didn't bat an eye.
I guarantee they wouldn't. And it's
They
because, oh, well,
didn't.
he's racing. Well, it doesn't
And then
matter.
he comes back and he wins the championship.
Yeah. But, the whole thing is,
The
if
whole thing about the system, but
yeah, but you know,
NASCAR gives out too many waivers.
but
But anyway,
the whole thing is, there is nothing to say that he couldn't be walking down the street and bump his leg on a bench because he's not paying attention and fracture his leg.
mm-hmm,
Plain and simple. It could happen doing anything. It doesn't
it
have to
could.
be it doesn't have to be doing something like snowboarding, you know? And what are they
It
going to
doesn't have to
do?
be fun.
What are they going to do? They're going to say, "Oh, well, he shouldn't have been walking down the street."
Exactly. He could have been working on his house.
Yeah, I mean, it's
He could have been renovating his house.
there's
Could
no
have been up on the roof like Grandpa used to do, and he could have fallen off and dislocated his shoulder.
I mean, anything can happen. He could be in the shower and slip, you know? It can happen.
Are,
You
are they gonna
can't
say, "Oh, he shouldn't have showered"?
yeah, you can't live in fear. And, I don't blame Chase for going and snowboarding. You know, I've done
Especially since
snowboarding.
there's
Snowboarding is
still
kind of
snow
fun.
on, especially since there's still snow on the ground and he can still do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason that they should be questioning why he did it.
Mm-hmm.
And even your grandmother said, "Oh, he's worth millions of dollars. He shouldn't be doing that." Well, wait a minute. No, it
No,
doesn't matter how much he's worth. You know,
let him have fun.
he's doing a job so that he gets paid, so that he can do things that he enjoys. So, simply put, he should be able to go and enjoy himself.
And if snowboarding's one of those things he enjoys, let him snowboard.
That's right. You know, like I said, I've done snowboarding. It's kind of fun. I mean, I wasn't any good at it, but I didn't do anything fancy, but
Mm-hmm.
it was fun.
I don't know. I've never tried it before.
Yeah, well, I when I was a manager at Burger King, they once a year they paid for everybody, all the managers, to go down to a ski resort. And the first year I did skiing, and that that killed my knees,
Ooh.
to the point where I had a hard time walking for a couple of days afterwards. But then the second year I did snowboarding, and yeah, it was great until the only problem that I had was the one hill that I was comfortable going down. You get to the end and you really need to get up a whole lot of speed so that you can make it
Yep.
back to the back to the clubhouse or whatever the hell they call it. And
Hmm.
but oh, the lodge, that's what it is. So there was a long distance between the end of the hill and the lodge where it was fairly flat, so you had to have quite a bit of speed. So the last time I went down, it was starting to get a little icy, and so I was gonna make that my last trip anyhow. But
Mm-hmm.
I got going along, and suddenly I'm getting down towards the end, and I'm trying to pick up speed, and all of a sudden I hit a bump that I just didn't see, and I went flying and landed right on my chest, and I was winded for about 10 minutes. So I was like, oh, that sucked. But other than that, it was fun. So I could see why somebody who does it on a regular basis would want to go and do it again. For me,
Yep.
I just didn't like the fact that I couldn't breathe for 10 minutes. But not saying I wouldn't try it again sometime, but at the same time I'm a
Yep.
bit older, and I don't know that I want to deal with that kind of cold. I like being warm.
At this time of year, who doesn't?
Yeah, yeah. And around here, I mean, the way it's been this summer, this winter, got to go quite a ways just to get some snow.
Hmm.
And I really don't want to drive a whole long distance in the winter.
By
Just to.
quite a ways, you mean a few feet outside the house.
No, and I'm talking enough snow to be able to do something like snowboarding.
Ah, okay. You gotta be a bit more specific,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because we still have snow.
Yeah, well, not everybody is as literal as you.
At
So, at any
least
rate,
I'm not. At least I'm not my brother.
yeah, he's worse than you are.
That's why I said that.
So, folks, that's right. We have one more topic, and guess what? Ryan added it. Yay!
So I can't remember when I saw this, but it was on the news. I was. It was around dinner time, I believe it was, and they were talking about the train derailments. And I noticed how apparently both of the recent train derailments came from the same railroad company and were in the same place, Springfield, Ohio.
There's 3 derailments from that company in the
Oh,
last couple of weeks.
I didn't hear about the third one.
Yeah,
I know that there were two, both in Springfield, Ohio.
yeah, just really
So
odd.
that, and they were saying that, oh, it's a problem with the railroad company. Well, if they were in the same place, maybe it's the town's problem.
Actually,
Maybe the
no.
town has bad rails.
No. All
No?
rail lines are owned by the railroad companies.
Uh,
Yes. That's why when you get to a railroad crossing, if it's
mm-hmm.
really rough, the town says can't do anything about it because they do
Okay.
not own that. Goes way back to I believe the Civil War. Part of the way that the North could defend itself very easily was the fact that as long as they had cavalry that was reporting back where the South was moving their troops, the North could move troops with rail faster and be fully prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, the troops would be well rested because they weren't physically marching all that way.
Yep.
So I believe that's when the railroad companies gained a lot of strength as far as things like owning railroad crossings at roads. I mean, back then it was just horse and buggy type roads, but still, the railroad crossings were owned by the railroads, and I don't know if it's still the case, but it used to be that no matter how old or how expensive your house was, if the railroad company decided they wanted to put a rail through the middle of your house was gone. The
Mm.
I mean, they'd have to pay you the value of it, but you wouldn't have a choice. You wouldn't be able to fight it in court. Again, I don't know if that's the case anymore because, rail lines are fairly well established as to where they are and whatnot.
Yep.
But,
I hope that's not the case anymore, because that's stupid.
well, again, you look at it from the perspective of defense. And, at the time when rail was the best way to get around, that it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense now because, moving troops via rail is not as efficient as, say, loading up, a plane and flying it.
Yep.
But, at any rate, go ahead.
That's all I had, really.
Oh, see. See, he comes less prepared than I do.
I don't come prepared at all.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's such a big shock that you actually added a topic this week.
Yep.
But no, like I said, at the time, a rail was the fastest, cheapest, and easiest way to move troops quickly and efficiently, and have the troops in a well rested state. So
Hmm.
at that time, I completely understand why it was that way, but
Okay.
it's one of those things where who knows if it's actually taken off the books or not. It could be. Yeah, it might be. It might not be. Who the heck knows? Without doing all kinds of research, nobody's really gonna know. I mean, obviously, railroad companies know, but
Yep.
you know. And now, I mean, you look at the cost of using you know, a railroad to move people. It's just outrageous, and
It is.
it's not direct, and that's another part of the problem. When
Especially since rail lines in the US are terrible compared to other countries.
Yeah, well, again,
Specifically like Japan, for example,
some of that is also population density.
or majority of European countries.
Yeah, population density is part of the issue. You look at
It
Japan,
is.
and everybody's fairly close. So, most people are within walking distance of a rail station. Where
Yep.
here in the United States, that's not the case. I mean, the nearest rail station to us is 25 miles away. You're not going to walk there,
No, you're not.
you know?
But even within major US cities, this is a problem. There
Yeah,
aren't a whole lot of rail lines in Los Angeles, for example.
yeah. Basically what railways have become is a way to move goods. They're still the
Yep.
cheapest way to move goods
Yep.
from from coast to coast. I mean, even if you're moving them to the middle of the country, it's cheaper because you have like two engines attached to 200 cars. Instead of having 200 diesel engine trucks moving that, you've got two diesel engines,
Hmm.
and they're also much more efficient because they're diesel electric, meaning the diesel is just to generate electricity for the motors, which is a lot more efficient than a diesel truck, which
Doesn't have an electric motor.
yeah, it's constantly running. So moving goods, yes, it's they're great for that. But
They are.
I had thought once about
But for
taking a rail.
passengers, they suck.
Yeah, I had thought once about taking a railroad when you were really young. When we went down to South Carolina, I thought, well, what the heck, that'd make it a whole lot easier. We just take that, and then I could help your
Then take it
mother
back.
with you and your brother, and it'd be a much better experience. I looked into it.
And it was expensive as hell.
Oh yeah, it was like $400 per person, and there was no
Good
child for
lord!
free. Yeah, there was no child for free, and on top of that, it was a 3-day trip
Hmm.
because there's no direct route. We had to go. So just to get to South Carolina, we had to go out to Chicago, and then from Chicago down to Georgia, and then Georgia back up to South Carolina, or something odd like that. I'm like,
To Chicago?
yeah, it was just really strange. I mean, I can't remember if it was Chicago
That
or
is
whatever,
strange.
but
That is strange. That's
it
out of the
was
way.
it was just a really really odd route to
It'd be
get there.
less out of the way if you took a flight.
Yeah, and
It'd be probably cheaper.
it was. I mean, the whole thing with a flight is I was looking to save money. That's why I was looking at the railroad. And
Hmm.
I was like, well, geez, $400 per person, no discount for kids. So you're talking $1,200. And granted, that was round trip. It wasn't just one
Yep.
way. It was round trip. So for a plane, I think it would have been like $1,000 or something like that round trip. I'm like,
1,000 total?
yeah,
Hmm.
something like that. I can't remember exactly. But, then I'm like, Well, why would I spend all that money when I can just drive down and it's going to cost me $100? $200 round trip, and that's including stopping and eating.
It's because gas prices were probably super low back then.
Well, yeah, that was part of it, but I mean, even now, you know, when we went down last year, round trip, including eating out a lot.
Yep.
I mean, we didn't take anything to eat on the way down. We had some snacks just to fill in, but when it came to eating a meal, we didn't bring any meals with us. We stopped at
Mhm.
restaurants. So we stopped I think 3 times or 4 times on the way down. Yeah, it was 4 times on the way down, 3 times on the way back. Plus, almost every day that we were there, we went out to eat. So, we did all that for less than, I think it was like $800. And that was towing the motorcycles, which cut my gas mileage way down.
Ooh.
Yeah, so, it's like, why am I going to go and fly when for,
Or take the train.
yeah, for less, I can get there when I want to, leave when I want to. you know,
Mhm.
I don't have to worry about anybody else's schedule and just do what I want to do. And I don't know, but yeah, the rail system in the U.S. just it's not designed for passengers. It's unfortunate,
It is.
and they keep talking about all these things like Elon with a boring company, that
Mm.
crap, and it's like, okay, so you're gonna create these massive tunnels so that you can avoid traffic when really truly what's happening with that is he's creating a way for him to avoid traffic
Yeah. It's
because
gonna be
things can only go one
he'll make it
direction.
so expensive that he'll only be able to pay for it.
It's not even that. It's you can only go one direction at a time because it's only one lane wide. And what happens?
Seriously?
Yes. And what happens if you have an accident inside of there because somebody's deciding to go too close to the person in front of them? Oh,
What do you
wait.
do?
Elon's solution is that it's
Oh boy.
all Teslas and they communicate with each other so you don't have to worry about that. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Oh my.
It's just nuts. But,
It is.
I mean, stuff like that, it's not going to help. And there's other companies that are looking at high-speed trains, that are designed just for passengers, but the problem is it's so expensive. You know, there
Mhm.
there there's some train that they're getting ready. So if they build it the way they want, it would be like a half an hour trip from New York City down to Washington D.C. or something like that, which would be
Hmm.
great. Except they're
That would
probably
be
going to
great.
charge $500 one way. Not so great. you know
Not at all.
and that all has to do with the fact that they got to make back their money for all the research and everything, and of course building the track isn't going to be cheap. And you know the real problem with that, taxpayers are going to foot half of the bill so that these companies can make profits.
I don't think people in New York could afford that, knowing how crazy rent prices are there.
It's not just New York with rent prices, it's every city. And
Well, yeah,
that's a whole other show.
but no other state that. But there's no other state other than New York that I know of that has a political party called the Rent is Too Damn High Party.
I'll bet there is. I'll bet that grows because
Mm.
you look out in California and rent prices out there have been a lot higher than New York City for a very, very long
Oh,
time.
I'm sure. More so in Los Angeles than the rest of the state, probably.
No, no. There's a reason that some people that worked at places like Google lived in a camper in the parking lot at Google.
Oh,
because paying for a camper, even if you paid it off, even if you went with a very short term loan on it, as in you could probably get away with a 2-year loan and still have payments that are less than what you would be paying for an apartment in San Francisco.
Yikes.
Yeah. You're talking in San Francisco, you're talking a 1 bedroom or a studio apartment that, if I recall correctly, somebody was saying, and this was a few years ago, somebody was saying a studio apartment in San Francisco that was, I think, 500 square feet was something like $1,300 a month. And that did not include utilities. Yeah. Expensive. Very, very expensive. But, the only ones making out on that are the landlords.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's all private, so capitalism wasn't really working because they create a landlord consortium or whatever. I don't know what the hell you want to call it, but basically they get together and talk to kind of set prices. So it doesn't matter. You're screwed no matter what. But at any rate, so I'm pretty sure that you've heard the music starting up in the background.
Good night.
We'll see you.